Hello everyone, welcome back to my incredible chess channel. I am candidate master Atul Dale and I am here with the 10th game of Tata Steel Chess Masters, which was played between Wesley So and Anish Giri. Well, Anish Giri is playing phenomenal chess in this tournament. He has already won a game against Magnus Carlsen in previous rounds, and in this round he played rock solid chess from the black side. Yes, Wesley So decided to play the Catalan opening, which of course nowadays every top player is quite familiar with, and Anish Giri was very well prepared and he managed to liquidate the position very quickly, and they ended up drawing the game pretty fast. So we will be going through the game. We will see the intricacies of the opening play because this game is mainly about the opening preparation. So I hope that you will enjoy the game, and if you enjoy the game, then don't forget to like this video, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Let's begin. Wesley So starts with knight f3. Anish decided to play d5, g3, knight to f6, bishop g2, e6, and now castles. Well, in this position, this is the Catalan opening which is going to happen. Bishop to e7, c4. Well, players sometimes play c4, sometimes they play d4, but these openings are like always transpose, you can say. So c4 was played in this position, he castles in this position, and now d4. D captures c4, and here queen c2 was played by Wesley So. Well, just to let you know, knight e5 is also one of the main lines in this position, where both the players, Anish Giri as well as Wesley So, has played this position from the black side, and usually black plays knight c6, not fearing about tripling the pawn here, because knight into c6 has been played by many players here, as well as bishop into c6. Well, bishop into c6 as well as knight. I would just like to say this thing, that in my own one of my own games I have played this line from black side also, and here knight a3 is one of the main moves, threatening to capture the pawn on c4, bishop into a3. Black is ruining the pawn structure, but white's pawn structure is also ruined, you can say, and this is not that cool. And usually the game revolves around who will stabilize the pawn structure as quickly as possible. So here black usually plays bishop a6, supporting the pawn on c4, then queen to d2. Idea is to come on a5 square. Okay, rook b8, rook needs to be brought in the game. Queen to a5, the bishop is under attack, so queen c8 is one of the main lines here, and so on. The game goes on, and this is just the opening, you can say. There are plenty of games has been played in this line, you can say, and if you wish to study, you can definitely study these games of top players. But in this game, queen c2, which is also one of the main lines in the position, was played by Wesley So, and now here he plays a6. Well, if you try to support the pawn with b5, which is also one of the options in the position, white can reply with a4. Now if you play a6, then of course you are going to lose the pawn, because the rook on a8 will be hanging, so you cannot really play like that. And if you play c6, then it will be a mistake, because after a captures b5, if you go for c captures b5, again it's a mistake, because you can see this bishop's diagonal is pretty dangerous, and knight will jump on maybe g5 or e5, and here the point is the rook is under attack. You cannot play knight c6, you cannot play bishop b7, and if you try to block it with knight d5 move, then queen h7 is a checkmate. So you cannot even do that thing, and you will just lose the exchange, at least the exchange, you can say, because black will play h6, which is the best move in the position. And now you have two options. One is to capture the pawn on f7 followed by capturing on 8, or you can just leave the bishop knight like that and just capture the rook on 8. If h into g5 is played, bishop captures on g5, and you are at least exchange up in this position for sure. Plus these two bishops are pretty strong. Okay, so supporting the pawn or hanging on to the pawn is not any option, you can say. And after b5, a4, mostly you need to play b4, and after b4, here knight d2 attacking the pawn on c4, as well as the rook on 8 is also under attack. Knight d5 is the only move, you can say. Knight captures on c4, and now black can start releasing the pressure with c5, followed by next move will be knight c6, and so on. So b5 is also a possibility, but you need to be very accurate. So here he plays a6. Maybe in future he is going for b5 move. Here in order to stop, means if you capture on c4, b5 is one of the main lines, queen c2, and then bishop comes on b7 square. As you can see, b5 move is coming with the threat of capturing the queen, so you don't have time to play any kind of knight moves and attack the rook on a8. And here in this position, I think it's absolutely fine for black. I'll not go completely into the details, I'll just carry on with the game now. a4 was played in the game in order to stop b5 move. Of course, now queen into c4 is the threat. Here Anish decided to play bishop d7 with the idea of playing bishop c6. Of course, he wanted to place the bishop on this diagonal, that's why he's going for this round route, you can say. Okay, queen captures on c4, bishops to c6, and now the thing is, whenever the knight moves, black is ready to exchange the bishop, because this bishop on g2 square is very strong and you should be always ready to exchange that bishop. Okay, so this kind of small intricacies, if you know, then it will be very easy for you to play any kind of opening. That's why I tell my students also that you need to know specific plans in the opening, not just by hearting the opening. Okay, you need to know the plan of action, what you should do. If your opponent plays something different, then what should be your plan of action. That's why small plans we need to study about your opening, like what to do in the middle game. Okay, so white played bishop to g5, and now, well, there are two possibilities which are there in this position. Bishop d5 is one of them, and if queen goes to c2 square or d3 square, we can play c5, one thing is there. And if queen c2 is there, then we can play bishop to e4, queen is under attack, queen c1, and now the bishop needs to be dislodged. At 6, bishop captures f6, bishop captures f6, rook to d1, and now a very important move which is a very thematic also in Catalan opening, that is a5. This move is good when white has played a4. Why? Because after a5 move, your knight is coming in the game, and the b4 square was weakened because there is no possibility of playing a3. So not only in this kind of position, but also in other you can say in Queen's Gambit openings, after a4, a5 is a very common idea which you should know. And in fact, in the game also this idea was implemented. So I just wanted to show you the idea. Okay, let's come back to the game. In the game, knight d7 was played by Anish, knight c3, developing the knight. At 6, the bishop of course has the option of capturing on f6, knight captures on f6, rook d1, and now here once again the ideas related to b4 and expanding on the queen side are there from the white side, so you should stop it with a5 move. If knight e5 is played, as I talked about, this bishop is always ready to capture the other bishop on g2 square, king captures g2, and then c6. The idea is to place the knight on d5 square whenever possible. If white plays e4, then you can play bishop b4 and so on. The pawn on d4 is slightly weakened, you can say. Queen will be coming on e7 square, or maybe you can even play on b6 to put pressure on d4, followed by rook f d8, and the fight will go on. Okay. Fine. So in the game, Vestiso decided to just go back to d2 square here in this position. And if you pause the video and think about it, what will you play? Okay, I have already talked about the idea which is there in this kind of position. The idea is to play a5. We need to stop b4 kind of ideas, and also we are making some support for the bishop to come on b4 square. Queen d3 was played, and as you say A, you need to say B. So here bishop b4 move was played, rook f e1, and now here rook to e8. Both sides are developing the pieces, you can say. Queen c2, and now this knight needs to be exchanged. So he exchanges this knight with bishop into c3, and the move which is very common, that is bishop to e4. Whenever the queen is on c2, if bishop can come here, followed by c6, and then controlling the d5 square is a very common idea. So queen d1 is played in the position, and now here instead of playing c6 move, he decided to play b6 move. The idea of b6 is to play c5 at some point of the game. Okay, so here Vestiso decided to exchange several number of pieces, you can say. That's why he played knight to e5. The bishop is under attack, so he plays bishop into g2, and of course king captures g2 was one of the possibilities. But after knight e5, d5, you can even go for the exchange of the queens, but I will say that knight d5 is a very strong place for the knight. Even knight e4 followed by knight to c5 and controlling the b3 square is also one of the interesting ideas in the position. So here, instead of capturing the bishop on g2 first, he decided to play knight into d5, queen captures d7, king captures g2, and then knight e4. Well, of course, this bishop will be captured at some point. He plays queen d3, immediately captures the bishop, b captures c3, rook a d8, and now you can say the game has been converted into heavy piece endgame, and this is most likely to be drawn. So the game continues with more liquidation, you can say. c5 was played, queen to f3, c captures d4, c captures d4, and now the b6 pawn can be a weakness in the future. That's why Anish decided to play b5, just exchanging the pawns here, and a5 pawn of course will be supported, because if you lose this pawn, then 5 versus 4 will be a tough challenge for any player to defend, and he doesn't want to do that thing. Okay, he plays rook d b1, queen d5, more exchanges, rook into d5, the pawn on d4 is under attack, e3, and he goes for more exchanges with e5. Very rock solid and very thematic play by both the players, I will say. Anish Giri is too solid from black side, rook b7, trying to get the 7th rank, and also the idea is to play rook a7 and grab the pawn. So Anish is very alert as usual. He plays rook to a8, rook a4, no chance of pushing the pawn forward, king to f8, h4, and then h5 was played. Everything is kind of blocked. The pawn on a5 is also very important. White cannot really move the rook anywhere, and ideally it should be an equal position. That's what happened in the game. The players decided to draw the game here. I agree for the draw, and Anish Giri is going strong. That's what I will say. And Vesdiso is also playing very well in this tournament. Still 3 more rounds are there, and Abdusattar Nodirbek is reading the tournament, and the exciting after h5 king f3 was the last move which was played in the game, and the game was decided a draw. I hope that you enjoyed the video. The intricacies related to the Catalan opening we discussed in this short video, and I hope that it will be useful for you. We'll be meeting very soon with some new content. Till that moment, do subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, and keep sharing the love. Thank you very much.